So here's what we're going to make in this one. We're going to start by having our character followers, and then it does the choice of 3 random attacks. There's its basic attack 2. Here's its basic attack 3. And then we should have a larger one, but these are randomized. So obviously it's not going to do the one I want straight away. Go back. There we go. Base attack 1. It moves through. They're all root motion enabled. If you are a YouTube member or a Patreon member, then you'll find the animations in a community post ready to go for you. Anyone else, there's a link on how to add root motion to the animations from Mixamo that you can use as well. So enough yapping, let's get on with it. This is part 1 of our Souls-like AI series. So we're just in 5.7, and I'm going to create a new folder for Souls-like. I'm actually going to name it properly, Souls-like, and then I'm going to right click it and change the color just so that I can see it better in the setup. I'm going to open that up, right click again and make it AI, and then I'm going to make another one for enums, and then finally one more for structs. Right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the brains behind the whole operation that controls absolutely everything. So open up enums. We're going to create an enum, and this will be e action type, or e actions, probably better and shorter. And this is going to list out our actions. So we're going to start with none, because we always want a none in there. And then we've got basic attack 1. Just copy that to make it quicker. Basic attack 2. Basic attack 3. Heal. And then you can put in like long range attack as well. And then we can close that. Open up Souls-like. Open up struct. And we're going to create a structure. Now a structure is a long list of variables. So this will be S action details. I'm going to open that up and dock it. So we're going to make a float, and this will be value of action. So this will be how much it changes or affects the thing we want it to. Then we're going to make a montage, and it's going to be an anim montage. It's going to be a soft object reference. So this will be montage to play. And then we're going to have some names. So this will be socket to trace from, and then another one of type name, socket to trace to. And then we're going to have a float for our trace radius. And then we're going to have some booleans. So we'll say interruptible, and then it will be variable. Add another one, blockable. And then we'll add another one of type float, and this will be cost to block. And then we'll save it, and that'll be it here for now. So what's this doing? So we're getting the value of the action. So if we're attacking on our basic attack 1, then we can set the value of that action to be 5 or 10 or 15. But the same for health. If we're healing as part of our action, then we can set the value of that action to be 10 as well. Socket to trace from, socket to trace to, and trace radius, they're about how damage is applied. So when we're swinging a sword, where it's going from and to. Interruptible, parryable, blockable, that's pretty self-explanatory. If we can interrupt it, if we can parry it, and if we can block it. So like for special attacks, we'd make them not parryable and not blockable, but we could make like cast interruptible. And then we've got cost to block with our stamina as well. So this is going to control the brains of most of our actions. So we need to set this up properly. We're going to go into our AI folder now, right click, create a blueprint class, of type primary data asset, and this will be PDA boss AI, and then we're going to open that up, and in the variables I'm going to create one variable for E actions, and then we'll make this a map, and the other part of the map is going to be S action details. Compile and save that, and then we'll just change the name to be actions as well. So you press F2 to change the name. So this is a primary data asset. It lets us make smaller data assets off the back of it. You could use data tables as well, but the problem with data tables is they load through all the data, and this is just a bit more condensed to what we need. So now we're going to right click and make a data asset, so we're going to use it straight away. We need to find the PDA boss AI and press select, and then we can do DA boss 1. I don't actually have a name for it at the minute. Okay, so now we're in here, we can add our actions. So here's our list of actions that we can add. We can add base attack 1, and the value of this action can be 10, and we can select which montage we want to play. So just for the time being, I'm going to play the traversal hurdle 1 image, just so that we know it's working, and then I'm going to add some attacks to it. I'm going to save that, and now we need an actual enemy. So I'm going to go back to blueprints and the sandbox character CMC, and I'm going to drag that over to our AI folder, and I'm going to select copy here. And then I'm going to make sure I save as well. Go back to our content drawer, go back to Souls-like AI. Here we've got a sandbox character. I'm going to press F2 and make this BP base enemy. And then we're going to open that up. And we can get rid of the gameplay camera, the spring arm, and the camera not used. When we compile, we'll get a bunch of errors. So we go to target. We have a function here for setup camera. This is just in this camera part, and we can delete that because we're not using the camera. That's for player stuff. We can compile again, and you see setup camera at the top, errors out. So this is on possess client. When we possess our client, what happens? Well, it goes to here, sets up the camera and sets up the inputs. There aren't any inputs for an enemy, so we're going to delete that. Press compile. And then anything under the CMC has enhanced inputs. Well, we don't have any enhanced inputs, so we can delete all of that. And all of that. So all we should have now is our begin play, our tick, pre-CMC tick, and the update input servers as well. Okay, so we're going to compile and save that. And this is our BP base enemy. Outside BP base enemy, we need a controller. We need something that's going to control the enemy AI. So we're going to type a blueprint class and get an AIC controller. Press select. This will be AIC enemy boss. In base enemy, if we come and select the top base enemy on the left, and then we can type in AI and scroll down, we can see auto possess AI placed in world. So that's when it spawns, but we want it placed in world or spawned. So you can see here is the auto possess AI. Currently it's set to placed in world. We want to change that to placed in world or spawned. And then the AI controller class, we want to select AIC enemy boss. Compile, save that. And now we're going to open up AIC enemy boss. And we're going to add on the top left a perception, AI perception. So this controls how much we see, smell, can do. It's probably not going to control smell because computers. But if we look here, we've got damage, hearing, prediction, sight, team sense, and touch. Okay. I had to say the only one that didn't exist. Here we have AI sight. We're going to set AI sight config, and we can see that we can set how far they can look, how much they lose sight, whether it covers the entire radius, so 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and how they detect. And we want to be able to detect everything. And our max age should be 0 seconds, so we never lose sight. If we go to the event graph, select AI perception on the left, go to details, and on target update on target perception updated on right at the bottom. Select that, and here we have our actor and our stimulus. We can drag out our stimulus, select break AI, and we can drag off from successfully sensed and get a branch. So if we successfully sense something, we want to check if the actor equals to our player, so we can get player character and then get another branch. And if that's true, then we want to say print string. We can say scene player. We're going to save all this again and compile it and save it. And now we're going to drag out our base enemy into the world. Press play, and we should, if we get in front of him, print out scene player. Great. But right now it doesn't do anything. So on begin play in our AIC enemy boss, we're going to select run behavior tree. And we don't have a behavior tree. So we're going to use behavior trees because Souls-like bosses are quicker to respond than state tree type bosses. And because the behavior tree checks on tick, we want that quicker response. If someone's behind us or if someone's healing, I want to be able to jump straight back to the state that I want to be able to interrupt everything. So in artificial intelligence, we're going to come down and select behavior tree. This will be BT boss. And we also need a blackboard. So get blackboard, which will be BB boss as well. If we open up BT boss, we should be able to click blackboard and find ourselves in BB boss. You see at the top it changes, but we can change it on this right hand side moving between them. So in our blackboard, we need to add a new key. So top left, new key, object. This will be attack target. And then on the right hand side in the details, we're going to get key type, drop this base class down to actor, and save it. We're going to select attack target and press F2, press Ctrl C to copy the key name. Go back to AIC boss. Where we're running the behavior tree, we're going to set BT boss, and then we're going to do right click, get blackboard, which is the one that we just set up, and we're going to do set value as object. Now the object is this attack target. You see key type object, and we're going to say the object value is the actor that we've got, and the key name, we're going to promote this to a variable, compile it, and then the default key name here in the details, this is the super important bit, we're going to make exactly the same as the key that we've just set up. If we select key name on the left and press F2, we can call this BB attack target key, and then we'll select true and merge it. Okay, so now we're going to go back to BB boss and go back to our behavior tree, and we're going to run a sequence. And from this sequence, I'm going to drag out move to, and rather than it being move to self here, we're going to select the move to blackboard key, attack target, and then drag off again and select wait. Save all this. Now what should happen is as soon as it sees us, it'll move to the attack target and it'll wait. Problem is there is something missing from the level. So we're going to come up to this top cube and a plus. I'm going to type in nav mesh bounds, nav mesh bounds volume. And we're going to just expand that a little bit like so. And we can press P to make sure that we can see the green bit where it's expanded to. And then when we play from here, it should follow us and chase us. Once it catches us, it'll wait 5 seconds. Couple of issues here. First one, I can just walk through this character. That's a bit bad. We don't want that. So we'll press stop and we'll go back to our base enemy. And we can select the capsule component. and we can find its collision, and we can change it to block pawn. What we're going to do is change the whole preset to pawn, and then it'll block pawn, and we'll get the mesh, and we'll change the mesh collision preset to character mesh. Depending on what happens with our camera, we may change that back later on, but for now, we're just testing to make sure that we can't run through the enemy. And we still can, and the reason for that is that we haven't made the change to our actual character either. So blueprints, CMC, set the capsule component, come down, change the collision presets to pawn, and the mesh to character mesh. Compile, save, give it another go, try run through your character, and now we can't run through him at all. He is still following us, which is what we want. So even if we try and get behind him to lose sight, we haven't set up any lose sight, so he's always going to follow us and move around. Now he's a little fast, so I'm going to go to base enemy, select inputs in the variables, select character input state, and I'm going to change the character input state to be wants to walk, to make him slower and more sort of intentional. I'm also going to go back to BT boss, and I'm going to say that he can strafe and he can start from a previous path, and then I'm going to change the acceptance radius to be 10 as well. But more importantly, we want to set up his attacks. Okay, so we're going to go back to BP base enemy, and we're going to create a new variable inside here, and this will be our PDA boss AI type object reference. We need to make it instance editable, and we need to make it expose on spawn. We can press F2 to see the boss details, compile and save that. And then what we're going to do is on begin play, I want to get this boss details here, and I'm going to get the actions. And I want to pass the actions into a storage unit so that we always know what actions our boss has available, and then we can start enacting them. So press Control Space. We're going to create, in our Souls-like, we're going to create a new folder for components, because I also want to reuse the actions set up across our character as well, and across multiple bosses. So components, right click, blueprint class, add to component, BPC, combat, open that up, and then in variables, we're going to do actions for our enum, come over to the side, make it a map, and this will be S actions details. Here we have our actions. So I'm going to right click and create a custom event, and this will be our execute action event. And then I'm going to drag out our actions, and I'm going to drag off from here, and we're going to find the action. So what we're doing is we're going to find all of the stuff that's associated with the action that we select. So we're going to pass in our bottom pin to our execute action. And then just to make sure, we want to do pass by reference and unclick it. So if we now do execute action, and I don't have the pass by reference selected, I've got to pass it into a key in a weird way. But if I untick pass by, I can just manually select it. So it just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so first off, I'm going to get a branch to make sure that we have the action. So from false, I'm going to print string to say no action found. But then from true, what we're going to do is we're going to break S actions, and we're going to get this montage to play. We're going to do a async load asset. And then from here, we're going to cast to anim montage. just make sure it's on this completed pin rather than on the top pin. Pass the object into object, and then we're going to do play montage. And the anim montage is going to go into montage to play. We need a skeleton to do this, but because we might be reusing our skeleton a lot on begin play, what we're going to do is we're going to get owner, get component by class, get the skeletal mesh component, so the skeletal mesh component here, and we're going to promote that to a variable. And this will be the owner's mesh. Drag that out and select in skeletal mesh component, and then we'll compile and save that. And now if we go back to BT boss, we can create a new task. This will be BTT execute action. And then when we override the AI, we get receive execute AI. So this is what triggers our full usage. We're going to get the controlled pawn, get the component by class, which is our combat component. And then we're going to say execute action. And that will be our basic attack action. So what will happen now is if I put in, we're going to move to our target here, and then we're going to do BTT execute action. Then the only thing that this is executing is this basic attack one. And I want it to be able to execute any action. So this key here, we need to promote to a variable. And we'll have this as action to execute. Hopefully this time I can spell execute right. And then in details, we're going to do instance editable, and we're going to expose it on spawn. Compile and save that. So back in BT boss, now I have this action to execute, and I can select any of them. So now I can do a basic attack here. We can wait 5 seconds. I can do another basic attack, or I can just do a heal, and it will execute that action. The problem becomes is that our code runs straight through and then won't finish. So when we're doing a task, we need to call this finish execute finish execute, and we need to tick that it's been successful. Now what happens in combat is that we'll run through this, and that finish execute will be called on this top pin rather than on this completed. So we're going to create an event dispatcher for on action finished, and I'm going to drag it out and call it here on completed. So that way, once it's completed, we shout that it has been completed. And in BTT execute action from this combat, I'm going to do a bind event to on action finished. So here I'm listening for this on action finished, and I don't want to call this finish execute until this action's been finished. So we're going to drag off from event and get a new custom event. This will be finish action, and connect it up like that. We'll compile and save that. And then in base enemy, we need to add our combat setup. So BPC combat. And I'm going to drag out BPC combat and do set actions. And then we connect begin play to set actions to the add tick prerequisite component. And then in actions, we're going to connect that up there. So what's going to happen here is it's going to on begin play, get our boss details, get its actions, and set them in the combat. So whenever we call an attack from here, it's going to look at what actions are assigned to our boss inside its component, and it's going to check to make sure that we can execute them. If we can't, it will say no action found. And if it can, then it will run through the montage and trigger everything as it goes. So let's see that in action. What we're also going to do is, just to stop it hanging up, we're going to do call on action finished after no action found. So even if we assign one that's not been found, it'll move on to the next thing. So in our BT bus, it moves to and it executes a basic attack. And inside our AI, we need to set up a basic attack, which will be our traversal hurdle. So you'll see our boss do a weird action where it jumps over a hurdle. So the problem here is that we haven't actually told our boss who he is. So we're going to go to details, and where our boss details are, then we can say DA boss 1. And now it should work. So he reaches us, and there's his hurdle that he does. So it's not much of an attack, but we know that this all works now, and we can make it better. So here we've got BTT execute action. I'm going to come out of here and say BTT execute action duplicate, and then this will be execute random action. So we're going to open that up, and inside actions to execute, I'm going to change this to be an array, and we'll change the variable type. And then from here, we're going to say random array item. We'll pass that into the key. Compile and save. And now in BT boss, we can drag out and say execute random action. I can add in multiple actions here. So basic attack 1, basic attack 2, basic attack 3. So if we break the node links on here, we can say it's going to perform any of the 3 actions, but we actually don't have more than 1. So we're going to add in a second one, basic attack 2, and this will be a weird catch cliff. What we're going to do is we're going to make both of these animations the traversal catch. So we've got basic attack 1, traversal catch, hurdle, high stand, and then we've got basic attack 2, traversal catch, cliff, high stand, F. Seems to be a problem with the hurdle animations. They just don't seem to come to an end. So we're going to just use the 2 catch animations because I know these ones work. So inside BPC combat, what we can do is we can put a print string at the start, and we can see which action has been passed through. So we'll just pass the key into there. And now when we play from here, we can see basic attack 2. That one's being triggered. And now it should be no action found. Basic attack 2 again. And like I say, we don't have a basic attack 3, so that's why we've got no action found. And then we've got basic attack 1 being triggered as well. So it moves through random attacks. Obviously, we don't have any attacks set up. We can set those up later, but we've got a full randomized attack sequence with an enemy that moves to us, and we've got the start of our Souls-like enemy. Now I know it's working, we can replace it with our animations. So for YouTube members, we've got animations linked in a post that they can use. So we're going to add those to us, but these are just mix of animations that have been given root motion. I'll link a video as to how we did that as well. So all we need to do is drag in the Mixamo character. Once we've added root motion, again, you need to follow the video to add root motion. And then we're going to import all of these apart from the Mixamo character. So we've got all these animations and put them on the skeleton as well. So now when we check our sword slash, there we go. And if we turn on root motion, we can see the root motion there too. And then if we get all of our animation sequences, we can click retarget, go to the UEFN mannequin, select all of these, export animation, use source path, export, and then we overwrite the files as well. And then we won't have those Mixamo animations anymore. We'll have just animations that have been retargeted to the UEFN skeleton. And then just to make sure that everything is super clean and tidy, for whatever reason, this has created a bunch of skeletal meshes when it imported our character. We don't want that. We're just going to then delete those skeletal meshes in a second. So here we are with our animations all retargeted. We're going to go on this like pyramid, upside down pyramid with an arrow, and you can select the skeletal mesh and all of them apart from Erica Archer. So you can select the top one, press shift to select the bottom one, press control to unselect Erica Archer, and we can delete those. And they've got no references, so they're just junk assets. And we can also do the same for physics assets as well. So we can search for the physics asset, so all filters, physics asset, and this selects all of them. So select all of them, and then just control select the Erica Archer one. And then again, you can see there's no references, so they're not used anywhere. And we can delete them, and that keeps our project nice and tidy. And if we click on any of these animations, it's just loading all the thumbnails. We can see now that we have these animations working, and we can enable the root motion and check out that. So now if I go back to DA Boss, so now if we grab all of these animations from the animation sequences and right click them, we can do create anim montages, and they all are now montages, or they will be. Make sure you save everything you want to save regularly. And then we can just select the ones that we want. I'm going to use the greatsword /1 anim for the first attack, and the greatsword /anim 2 for the second attack. And I'm just going to open, I'm going to show you without the root motion what that looks like. So when he comes over here, if he does the one that I want him to, there we go. So here's number one, and you'll see him snap back like that. And that's just the root motion playing up. So DA Boss 1, select this one, select its actual animation, and enable the root motion like so. And then we'll do the same for the /2. This one doesn't move much, but we want the extra. And now what we can do is we're going to add in a third attack. And I'm going to put in the /3 for his third attack. And again, I just want to make sure that root motion is enabled. And now we won't get no action found because we've got all of our actions. There's /2. Here's /1. You can see moving through it. And then hopefully we get a /3 soon. But it's not doing the one that I want, because why would it do that for a video? It's done nothing but like the third attack the entire time, and now it just wants to do the second one. There's 2. And there's 3. So it's nicely gone in order here, but it should choose random. So there it chooses number 3. Excellent. So that'll be all for this one. You've got an enemy, it's got animations, it does random attacks, and we've built a very modular system that we can expand on, as you've seen by the way we've just added more attacks. Stay tuned for more, and we'll build it further as we go.